If you are looking to invest in Indian market and want to choose mutual fund as an investment vehicle, or if you are looking to advise your client to invest in Indian market, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to discuss with you four important aspects of investment in Indian markets, especially for NRIs. First, I'm going to discuss with you why your customer living abroad should be looking at Indian market for investments. Then I'm going to talk about four factors which you need to be mindful of, which nobody is talking when they are making their investment decisions to invest in Indian market. Third, I'm going to tell you what should be the ideal approach for you to invest in a scientific manner, in a research manner, so that you are going to get the desired results you are looking for while investing in the Indian market in various asset classes. And lastly, I'm going to share with you all the steps required for you to invest in Indian market so that you guys are not going to be in any trouble. You are going to follow the rule of law and then you will be having a optimized return from your investments. Hello everyone, I'm Shobet. I'm a certified financial planner and founder of Finbiz Growth Club. We are an aspiring community of mutual fund distributors looking to change the way how India invests. So first, let's understand why you or your client should be investing in Indian market. What is there in Indian market which no other investment avenues are going to offer? So the first and very obvious thing is the growth which this market is going to offer in coming decades or two. The demography of India is such, the consumption story is such that the population is going to be young, they are going to earn and they are going to spend. And any company which is going to be servicing these clients with their product or services by default is going to benefit from them. If you look at a US, Canada or European countries, those countries, the growth of the investments or I may say the bank deposit rates are negligible or nothing. But if you look at India, the growth is phenomenal. Because of that, the investment growth has been very good. And because of this one region, you should be looking at investing in Indian market where other foreign and matured economies are struggling to provide you a healthy return for your hard-earned money. The other thing is the future also looks very good. It is not only about the now, what kind of returns you are getting, but the future looks phenomenally well because the growth story, because of the demography of India, where huge potential can be seen. We are having largest working population in the world. And if these guys are going to work, they are going to create value, they are going to earn, they are going to spend. And in that process, all of us who are there in this industry or in this country with the right intention, with the right strategy, they are going to benefit that. So now we are clear why you should be investing in India. Now let's talk about what are the important factors which you need to be mindful of when you are going to take that important decision to invest in India. So the first thing which you need to be mindful of is the exchange rate risk. Now this most of us are negligible. We are only looking at the return part of it. But what we need to understand is whenever you are investing in India, you are going to be investing in Indian currency and not in the country currency where you are living in. So in case you are in US or Europe or any other country, in case you are going to invest in Indian market, either in equities or debt or any other asset class, then you should be mindful of that. The exchange rate risk is always going to play. Now, what this exchange rate risk is, if I want to explain in a layman language, so let me tell you what it means. It means that suppose today you are going to invest in say Indian equity market. So you need to convert the currency say dollar into rupees so that you can buy Indian stocks. Now today for $1 you are going to get 74.60 something around. Let's for example, say 74 rupees. Now, what is going to happen in the long run? The currency of India is depreciating. Now, this means what? This means that after 10 years down the lane, you are going to be purchasing dollar back again to take your appreciation from the investment for by paying 80 rupees or 85 rupees for the each dollar which you are going to buy back. Now, what this means? This means that you are going to have or you are going to take a hit on your investment. If you look at in 2000, Jan 2000, $1 was equivalent to 46 rupees some change, 43 rupees change. Now in Jan 2022, it has become 74 rupees change. Now this means if you have invested in Indian market, you have got for each of your dollar, you got 43 rupees. Now in 2022, if you want to redeem your investment here and want to take back money to your home country, then for each dollar you need to pay 74 rupees 60 paisa. If you look at the compounding depreciation of the money which is happening, it is around 2.5%. This means that for every dollar which you are going to take back, today you need to give 74 rupees 60 paisa. Now it itself is going to reduce the return which you are going to get by 2.5%. So this you need to be mindful of in case you are looking to take back your investment back to your home country, then you should be mindful of that the actual return which you are going to draw, it will have all the impact of the currency as well, which nobody is talking about, but you should be very, very mindful of. Another important thing is about the taxation. Now, what this means, the taxation is for NRIs, there is a TDS, that is tax deducted at source. Now, the tax rate is almost same for individuals and NRIs and resident Indians. But the thing is, whatever tax which resident Indians has to pay, they are going to pay after they are going to receive the money. But for NRIs, those tax which they need to pay or they are supposed to pay, that is deducted by the mutual fund company at their end, and that is going to be deposited with the government of India. Now, what we need to be mindful of that those tax deduction which is going to happen, that can or cannot be taken back by you depending upon what kind of tax liability you are going to have. So you need to be that whatever tax has been deducted or going to be deducted, it is only a deduction and not a tax outgo. So what you need to be mindful of, suppose you are investing in an equity scheme and your long-term capital gain, which is the gain which you have made by investing in equities for more than a year, is say 2 lakh rupees. Now the whatever the tax deduction has happened at the mutual fund company, and it will be at the flat rate of 10% plus surcharges, whatever they are going to apply on that. But what you need to be mindful of is till 1 lakh rupees appreciation is totally tax free for you also. So it doesn't mean whatever tax deduction has happened at the mutual fund company and all those has to be going to the government. If you are filing your taxes with the right mindset, with the right tools, you can get some of those taxes back to you. If you follow the proper mechanism as how you can save the tax outgo, I think you will be having a very efficient return from Indian market. You need to be mindful of the fact that the rate of tax for you as well as for the resident Indians are same. But what you need to be mindful of, that the money whenever you are withdrawing, the money which you are going to withdraw will be given to you after the TDS or the tax deduction which is going to be done by the mutual fund company. Important thing which you need to be mindful of is tax deduction doesn't mean tax outgo. When you are filing your tax outgo calculation or the tax which you need to pay on your investment, then you will have a fair assessment how much tax you can get back from government of India. The third important fact which you need to be mindful of, the all the declaration which you need to do, like the FATCA declaration and all the regulation which you need to follow under FEMA. Now, FATCA declaration is nothing but you need to provide the country in which you are paying tax and the details of that and where you are residing and so on and so forth. And the FEMA regulation regarding how much money you can get in and how much money you can get out. All those things you need to be mindful of. And the last thing which you need to be mindful of is the deductions which are happening or the tax which you are going to be paying in your home country and in India, it is not separate. Now, most of the countries, India has a DTA agreement, that is double tax avoidance agreement. It means in case you have paid tax there or if you are paying tax here, both can be congruent and both can be clubbed so that your tax outgo can be reduced or you don't have to pay unnecessary taxes as at these two destinations. So please be very careful of these facts. These four factors are going to help you in getting better investment results for your investments. And once you have understood these four factors, which is going to play a very vital role when you are taking the plunge to invest in Indian mutual fund market, then let's talk about the most important thing. What should be the approach which you need to follow or which you need to take when you are going to start investing in the Indian market? So as an NRI, the most important thing which you need to be understanding is don't do investment for the sake of doing investment. If you are not having the purpose right, the goal right, the investment journey would be very bumpy for you. My advice is take a goal-based approach when you are planning to do investments in the Indian market. Define for the what purpose you are going to be investing. It may be for your retirement, it may be for any purpose which is very individualistic to you. But define the purpose for which, the goal for which you invest. And once you have defined that, you are going to get two very important factors. One, what is the time horizon you are looking to invest in? And second, what is the quantum of money you will be requiring at the end of the day? And these two is going to help you in creating a right strategy for your investments. Once you have the time horizon right, once you know by what time or by for how much time you want to invest, then your asset allocation would be much efficient. Your asset allocation will be much more prudent and you are going to get a better risk adjusted return. And the last thing which I would like you to keep in mind when you are approaching your investment journey in India is to not chase the return. Most of the time you only see the returns of the asset class irrespective of looking at the various other factors like the risk you are taking or the tax efficiency or the liquidity. We only see the returns and we start plunging into those investments. Don't do that mistake. If you have defined the purpose for which you want to invest, then it is going to give you a better optimized tax efficient return. So your approach should be very simple. Let me repeat it. The first thing you need to do is you need to define the goal for which you want to invest. That is going to give you the quantum and time for which you want to invest. And then accordingly, you need to do your asset allocation, build a multi-asset portfolio, not multi-scheme portfolio. And once you have done that, then you are going to create an optimized portfolio which is going to give you a risk adjusted better tax efficient return. So now you are ready to do your investments. Now what is the steps which you need to take so that you can invest in India without any regulatory hustles? You will be very clear on the roadmap as how you are going to invest in India. So the first thing which you need to keep in mind is in case you are investing in India from the income which you have in your abroad destination, more importantly, if you are clear that you are going to settle there and you are going to take back the investment money back to your home country, wherever you are residing, then my advice is you need to open an NRE account. So NRE account is a repatriable account where whatever money you are going to bring in or whatever foreign currency money which you are going to bring in, those money you can take back easily without any regulatory hustle. So if you want to take that journey, or if you are very clear that you are investing in India only for the sake of investment, and ultimately your aim is to take this appreciation back to the country where you are residing in, then you should be opening NRE account. And in NRE account, once you have opened, you need to also open an PIS account, that is Portfolio Investment Scheme account, which is guided by RBI. So once you have PIS NRE account, it would be easy for you to take back your investments, redemption money or the proceed back to your home country. Now, PIS account, NRE PIS account, when you are opening, you need to keep couple things in mind. The first thing is whatever you are investing either in direct equities or through mutual funds, those investment details are going to be reported to the RBI on a regular interval basis. So you need to be mindful of that fact. Another thing which you need to be mindful of is whenever you're investing in equities, it should only be on a delivery basis. You cannot invest in an F&O market. You cannot have a intraday trading in those accounts. If you are looking for a long-term investments, then NRE PIS accounts will make sense for you, where you don't have to bother much about the regulatory hustles, and whatever investment which you are going to make, it will be very transparent to you. Another important thing which I would like you to consider is whenever you're opening an NRE PIS account, it should be one account at one point of time. You cannot have multiple NRE PIS account with multiple banks because it is going to be reported back to RBI. So once you are clear on this, then there is no confusion for you that if you on long-term basis, if you want to get benefited from investing in Indian markets, then NRE PIS account should be your first choice. Now, if you have a doubt or if you are not clear whether you want to be settling back in India or you are going to go back into your country where you are residing in, then my advice is you should open an NRO non-PIS account. Now, what this means? This means that these are the accounts where you are going to have put money and you don't have intention to take it back, or you have Indian income and that money you are going to be, or that money is going to be put in your NRO non-PIS account. Now, this account will have much better flexibility in a sense that you can invest in multiple asset classes. You can trade in multiple types of investments, like you can do intraday in equities, you can play in F&O, you can invest in mutual funds, you can invest in equities, you can invest in other asset classes as well. So in case you want much more flexibility and you don't have any intention or you are not clear that whether you are going to go back to the country where you are residing in, then you should be opening an NRO PIS account. Now, once you have done that, you will have much more flexibility. Now, does that mean that in future, suppose you want to take those investments back to your country, you will be able to, you will not be able to do? Then that is not the case. In case you want to take the money which you have in an NRO account, take back to the country where you are residing in, then you need to do some additional declaration in Form 15CA and Form 15CB. Now, these are the declaration which you need to do on the income tax website, so that the authorities are clear that whatever tax which you are liable to pay, you have paid, and then only you are taking back the investments or the proceeds of the investment back to your country. Another important thing which you need to keep in mind is in case you are investing in equity or mutual fund scheme, and whatever dividends which you are receiving, whether it is an NRE PIS account or NRO non-PIS account, the money which you are receiving in the forms of dividends, those money are only going to be deposited in NRO account and not in NRE account. So anyways, in case you are opening your NRI PIS account, you need to have an NRO account as well, because there you are going to get the proceeds. So once you are clear on the bank account which you need to open, I think I would have given you much clarity as how you're going to approach that. The next important step is you need to do your KYC, that is know your customer. Now this KYC is specifically for mutual fund investments which I am guiding you to. This should be done in a physical manner. It means you need to submit physical documents to the competent authority or to your financial advisor so that the verification of the documents can be done, and now you are ready to do investments. So what are the documents required? The documents required is your PAN card, your address proof in India, your address proof in abroad, your passport, so that we can verify that you are a non-resident Indian. So once your KYC document is done, you can do abroad while filling the application and signing the or self-attesting your document, sending to your financial advisors in India, and they are going to verify on your behalf and going to submit to the company, and that your KYC will be done. Once your KYC is done, now you are ready to do investments. My advice is, if you are looking to win this game, if you are not looking to only invest, if you are looking to build wealth or create wealth for yourself, you need to take a guided approach to your investment journey. Now, I firmly believe that the investment outcome is the result of how you are going to control your emotional journey in those investment period. And without any external support which is going to guide you, motivate you, push you, pull you in that journey, it is very hard for investors to get the desired outcome. So if you are looking for a professional approach, take a financial advisor route. But if you think that you are self-disciplined, you can make your own choices, then you can take lot of platforms, aggregator platforms available like Zerodha or GrowApp, through which you can do your investment. Remember, those investment can only be done in case you have done your KYC. So either way, you are open to take your own decisions. My advice to you is, if you are really serious, you want to build wealth and not only looking for investment, then take some guided approach. And once you have done that, then you are ready to grab and take the opportunity which India as an economy is going to offer you. I am also aware, and you should be also mindful of the fact that all mutual fund companies are not going to accept your investments. So if you are residing in US or Canada, then you should be mindful of which mutual fund companies in India is going to accept your investments. If you are residing in any other country, I think there is no problem, but it is always better to first contact and take an informed decisions regarding your investment choices in Indian mutual fund companies. I hope these insights would have given you clarity as how you are going to approach your investment journey in India. In case you are still not exposed to Indian market, my advice to you is, don't waste this opportunity. All over world, people are investing in this market, and if you are not investing in this market for the coming decade, you are losing a lifetime opportunity for you. In case you like the content, in case it was helpful for you, do hit the thumbs up button. Share with your family and friends. Hit that subscribe button so that we can grow and help as many people as possible. Thank you for watching. I'm going to meet you next time.